People like you should be grateful we let you in.
You should step back.
Did she just hit him?
Someone record this.
Put those phones down.
Do not touch. Give me my phone.
You are leaving.
After you return what was taken.
He never touched her.
Stay out of this. His tin is under the table.
Do not pick it. Lock the doors. Chief, there are civilians inside. I gave an order. Hold this room. I am preserving order. You are preserving witnesses. Let us leave. Nobody moves.
Delete that video.
No.
Give me the phone.
It already sent. Collect every recording. Under what charge?
Do it now! Every order is being heard.
My phone.
You came here to cause trouble. I came to ask one question. Then return understand who controls this room.
I understand exactly. Chief, my body...
Is he detained? He is being questioned. Then I can leave. Chief, hold your position.
She struck him first.
We all saw it.
They are lying.
Ask why you're... Give me one call. To whom? The person waiting for your mistake.
Dad.
Dad, do not give it to him.
Chief, we need a legal basis. Nobody touches that phone. Too late, too late.
What does that mean?
It means...
The room went silent when the police chief's daughter struck the black farmer across the face and hissed, "People like you should be grateful we let you in." Elijah Mercer did not raise his voice. He only touched the worn brass seed tin in his pocket and asked for his phone. Why did the chief suddenly order the doors closed? Why did 3 officers stop looking at Elijah and start watching their own boss? And what secret could turn one quiet call into a statewide investigation before dessert was served? Stay until the end, because the man everyone mistook for powerless had already placed the truth where no one could bury it. The brass seed tin finished spinning beneath the nearest table and fell flat with a thin metallic click. "Give me my phone," Elijah said. Grant Rourke turned toward the double doors. "Lock them." For 1 second, nobody moved. Then Martin Vale crossed the carpet and pushed down the latch. The sound was small. 100 guests heard it anyway. Ice struck crystal near the stage. Behind the kitchen doors, a tray rattled, then went still. "You cannot hold an entire room," Elijah said. Grant kept smiling. "We are preserving order." "You are preserving witnesses." Chairs shifted. A farmer lowered his eyes. Simone Price gripped her water glass. Ava pointed at Noah Bell. "You recorded me." "I was carrying plates." "I saw your phone." "It's in my locker." "Then open it." Grant nodded. "Collect every recording made after the speech." Officer Caleb Dunn stopped near Elijah. He was 25, 9 months into the job. "Sir, are we ordering guests to surrender personal property?" "I gave you an instruction." Caleb swallowed. "Yes, Chief." Elijah bent toward the seed tin. "Don't," Martin snapped. Elijah froze. Warm chandelier light slid across the dented lid. Ruth's initials, nearly rubbed away, faced upward. "It belonged to my wife," he said. "Step back." "She's dead." Caleb crouched first. He lifted the tin and placed it in Elijah's palm. The metal was cold. Elijah slipped it into his field jacket. Ava's voice cut through the silence. "He came here to cause trouble." "You struck him," a woman near the aisle said. "He never touched you," Noah added. Grant crossed the room. "Mr. Bell, think carefully before making accusations." 3 cooks watched through the swinging door. None spoke. Elijah extended his hand. "My phone." Martin held it near his belt. "You'll get it after we determine what you sent." "That would require authority you do not have." Grant leaned close enough for Elijah to smell coffee and sharp mint. "Authority is what this room recognizes." Elijah looked at the locked doors. "Evidence is less flexible." A red light blinked on Caleb's body camera. Ava saw it. "Turn that off." Caleb raised his hand, but stopped short. "Policy requires recording during an active detention." "This is not a detention," Grant said. "Then he can leave." The clock above the service entrance clicked to 8:17 p.m. Grant looked from Caleb to the guests, counting how many had raised their heads. "Put Mercer in the back room." Martin stepped forward. Beneath the scrape of chairs, Elijah heard a vibration inside Noah's apron. Noah covered the pocket with a folded napkin. The message had gone through. At the corridor, Elijah glanced back at the empty chair near the stage where his name card rested beside an untouched plate. Grant ordered a server to remove it. The server lifted the card, but Caleb read the line beneath Elijah's name. Cedar Hollow Cooperative, Chairman. Grant noticed. Back room, now. Cold kitchen air smelled of onions, soap, and scorched butter. As the door swung shut behind Elijah, the front latch clicked again, tested by someone who wanted out. 12 hours earlier, before the locked doors and the frozen room, a white county envelope had been waiting on Elijah's kitchen table. At 6:45 that morning, Elijah turned the county envelope face down and carried 2 mugs to the porch. October mist lay between the orchard rows. Wet grass darkened his boots, and loose tin tapped beyond the barn. He set one mug beside the empty chair before remembering there was no one left to take it. Lena stepped outside in a charcoal coat. You did it again. Habit. Inside, one shriveled apple rested on Ruth's blue plate. Lena opened the envelope. Emergency review. 7:30 tomorrow. They're calling the South Orchard a drainage risk. It's been there 41 years. That won't matter if nobody challenges it. I'll challenge it. From tonight's dinner? You were invited because they want you where they can watch you. Lena tapped the notice. You said the review was paused. It was yesterday. You answer like a witness. Every word matters. To me, it sounds like you don't trust your own daughter. Elijah looked toward the orchard. Ruth had planted the first rows when Lena was 6, tying red cloth around the trunks so no one would cut them by mistake. One faded strip moved near the fence. Mom would tell you not to go. Your mother went wherever someone told her she didn't belong. Then tell me what this is about. His thumb found the dent in the brass seed tin inside his jacket. Mara had required silence until the records were secured. I need you at the land office tomorrow. That's not an answer. It's the one I can give. A pickup slowed on the county road. The driver looked toward the Mercer sign, then accelerated. Lena lowered her voice. 3 farms lost acreage this year. 2 had police inspections first. Now your orchard is dangerous, and you're sitting across from the man whose department signed those reports. Elijah. He rarely heard his first name from her. If you lose this place, I lose the last room where I can still remember her voice. Inside, the clock clicked to 7:02. The apple on Ruth's plate rolled against the rim. He picked it up and placed it in Lena's hand. Keep the table clear tonight. For what? In case I bring papers home. And if you don't? He buttoned the field jacket. His fingers missed the first button twice. By noon, a county sedan had idled outside the packing shed for 7 minutes. In the mailbox, Elijah found a cream dinner invitation. His assigned seat was circled in blue ink. Lena found him reading it. You're still going? Yes. Take me. No. Because I'm your lawyer? Because you're my daughter. That hasn't protected me. He slid the invitation beside the seed tin. File for an emergency stay at 7:15 tomorrow, not 7:30. Why early? Someone may change the docket. The sedan appeared again at the far end of the road. At dusk, Elijah washed orchard soil from his hands, though a dark crescent remained beneath one nail. Lena waited by the gate as amber light thinned behind the trees. Dad, don't let them make you small. He glanced at the empty chair and the red cloth moving at the fence. They've been trying for years, he said. Then he drove toward the banquet hall with the notice, Ruth's seed tin, and one secret he could not yet give his daughter. At 7:36 p.m., Elijah parked beneath bare maples while valets waved polished cars toward the front steps. Cold air carried wood smoke across the square. He tucked the county notice inside his jacket, checked Ruth's seed tin, and crossed the gravel. A woman in a black evening dress blocked the carpet. "Deliveries go around back." "I'm not making one." Her gaze traveled from his boots to the faded olive jacket. "Assistance applicants use the service entrance. I was invited to dinner." "Name?" "Elijah Mercer." At 30, Ava Rourke had a practiced camera smile. Her silver bracelet clicked against the tablet. "I don't see you. Try the cooperative list." "There is no cooperative list." He handed her the invitation. She read it, then looked at him again. "This must be a clerical error." Then the clerk chose a specific seat. Two farmers Elijah knew noticed him and turned away. A server opened the door. Heat, roasted garlic, and violin music spilled outside. "You can wait by the kitchen," Ava said. "I'll wait in the lobby." "That area is for donors." "My invitation." Before she returned it, a voice rose from the stairs. "Mr. Mercer, there you are." Grant Rourke descended with one hand extended. The 58-year-old police chief wore formal charm over a rigid jaw. He shook Elijah's hand for the photographer. "Cedar Hollow is honored to have our farmers represented tonight." "One of them, at least." Grant laughed too loudly. "Ava, make sure Mr. Mercer is comfortable." His hand settled on Elijah's shoulder. The grip looked friendly from 10 feet away. It remained after the camera lowered. Grant guided him into an alcove beside the coat room. "You brought paperwork?" he asked. "People usually do when land disappears." The fingers tightened. "This dinner raises money for families." "Then the missing $4.8 million should concern everyone inside." Grant's smile held. "Tonight is not the place." "Your department made it the place when officers delivered property notices." A hanger scraped along the brass rail. The attendant stopped moving. Grant leaned close. Coffee and sharp mint cut through wet wool. "You have a daughter building a legal career here. Leave Lena out of it. I'm advising you to protect her from unnecessary attention." "Is that what you call it?" Grant released him and smoothed the jacket as if brushing away dust. "Enjoy dinner. Don't turn this into a personal grievance." 4 pale finger marks faded from the fabric. Ava returned with the invitation. "Your table has been adjusted." "By whom?" "Seating changes happen." "Before or after I arrived?" Her bracelet clicked. "Follow me." They entered through a side passage. Chandeliers cast gold over white linen, but the air by the service doors was cold. At the front, an empty chair bore Elijah's name beside the county seal. Ava led him past it. "That's my seat." "Not anymore." She stopped beside the swinging kitchen doors. Each opening released steam, soap, and clattering plates. Elijah rested one hand on the chair back but did not sit. Across the ballroom, Grant lifted a glass toward him. Then the chief touched 2 fingers to his own shoulder, exactly where he had held Elijah, and nodded once. The kitchen doors swung open behind Elijah and struck the rubber stop with a dull thud. "Sit there," Ava said. He looked toward the front table. His place card still stood beside a gold-rimmed plate, 3 seats from Grant Rourke. "That seat has my name on it." "It had your name on it." A server carrying soup slowed. "Keep moving," Ava ordered. Elijah pulled out the chair beside the kitchen entrance. Cold air brushed his ankles each time the doors opened. Steam carried onions, butter, and bleach across his neck. "You should be grateful we found room," Ava said. "I was invited as chairman of the cooperative." "You were invited to represent struggling farmers." "That is not the same thing." Her bracelet clicked against the chair. Tonight is about donors, not complaints. Then why is the police chief seated beside the land commissioner? Her smile slipped. Across the room, Simone Price stood near Orchard Photographs. The agriculture director gripped her program. She met Elijah's eyes, then folded the paper until his name vanished inside the crease. A gray-haired farmer whispered, "Don't push it, Eli." "Why?" "Inspection season." His wife touched his wrist. Noah Bell arrived with water. In a white service jacket, he set the glass at Elijah's right hand. "This isn't your table," Noah murmured. "So I noticed. I set the cards this afternoon." Ava turned. "Problem?" "No, ma'am." Noah straightened the fork and slipped something beneath Elijah's napkin. When Ava left, Elijah lifted one corner. It was the original card, his name embossed above Cedar Hollow Cooperative, chairman. "Where was it?" "Trash bin behind the stage." "Who removed it?" Noah glanced toward Ava. "I didn't see." A kitchen bell rang twice. Chairs scraped as guests rose. Grant stepped to the podium. "Tonight, Cedar Hollow honors the hands that feed this county." Applause filled the hall. A dish rack squealed past Elijah. "No family should lose land because help arrived too late," Grant continued. Simone's fingers tightened around her program. Noah returned with soup. "Your name was removed from the speaker list, too." "I wasn't told I was speaking." "You had 3 minutes after the fund report." Elijah touched the hidden card. "Who knows?" "Maybe Ms. Price." Simone crossed the room during the applause. "Elijah, please let tonight pass." "Did you approve tomorrow's emergency review?" "No." "Who did?" Her eyes moved toward Grant. "The file came back with an authorization code from my office." "Yours?" She shook her head. "Then say that tomorrow." "I have 17 employees. And 12 families have fewer acres." The kitchen door opened, flooding them with white light. "I can't protect them if I'm removed," she whispered. "Are they protected now?" Simone returned to her table without answering. Passing Elijah, Noah set down a cream program. A blue line marked the fund presentation. Beside $4.8 million, someone had written, "Ask where it went." At the front, Ava took the podium and smiled toward the cameras. Elijah placed the original name card beside his plate, where anyone coming through the kitchen could see it. Then Ava began praising the program that had already marked his orchard for removal. Ava's first slide showed smiling families beneath the words, "Land Preservation Fund." "Because of your generosity," she said, "no hard-working family in Cedar Hollow has to stand alone." Applause moved across the room. Near the kitchen, Elijah unfolded the program. Grant lifted his glass. "That is partnership." Elijah raised one hand. Ava kept speaking. He did not lower it. Noah stopped with a tray on one palm. Simone stared into her water. "Questions come after dessert," Ava said. "The report lists $4.8 million in land preservation grants," Elijah replied. "Where did it go?" A fork struck a plate. Grant leaned toward the microphone. "Mr. Mercer is passionate about accounting. Farmers count every seed." Elijah touched Ruth's tin inside his pocket. "I count acres." Ava clicked to the next slide. The figures were reviewed. "By whom?" "This is not an audit hearing." "Then one answer should be easy." Grant stepped beside her. "Elijah, sit down. We can discuss this privately." "It is not personal." He placed the county notice beside his recovered name card. "Parcel 18-442, the Green Family's West Field. Parcel 21-906, Maribel Soto's dairy acreage. Parcel 07-113, the Mercer South Orchard." Murmurs crossed the room. All 3 received enforcement notices. All 3 transferred within 90 days to Briar Ridge Holdings. Grant's smile tightened. Unrelated transactions. Then tell the room who owns Briar Ridge. Ava's bracelet struck the podium. You came here to embarrass my family. No, I came because families are disappearing from county maps. Noah spoke from the aisle. His name was on the speaker list. Ava turned. Go back to work. Simone rose so fast her chair scraped. Elijah thought she would speak. Instead, she pressed her purse against her stomach. Ava descended from the stage. You should leave, she said. The doors are open. Not for long if you keep disrupting dinner. Elijah glanced at Grant. Is that an official warning? Grant said nothing. Ava stepped closer. Citrus perfume cut through roasted butter. People donated tonight to help men like you. Men like me paid into that fund. You were given a seat. Someone tried to hide it. He laid the name card on the notice. Ava recognized the blue ink. Where did you get that? From the trash. Noah's tray trembled, then steadied. Grant left the stage. Ava. She ignored him. You think dirt on your boots makes you honest? No, records do. Elijah set the brass seed tin beside the papers. The dented lid caught the chandelier light. Several guests raised their phones. Put those away, Ava said. They belong on the table. Put them away. Elijah did not move. The ventilation hum filled the room. Behind the kitchen wall, water ran into a metal sink. Ava's fingers opened, then closed. Her hand crossed the space between them. The sound was flat and brief. Elijah's head turned. He did not lift his hands. The tin slipped from the table, struck the floor, and spun beneath the chandeliers. No one spoke. It circled twice, wobbling on its dented edge while every phone kept recording. Then Grant pointed at Elijah and said, "Take his phone." "Take his phone," Grant repeated. Martin Vale moved first. At 47, the deputy chief kept his uniform immaculate and his face arranged like a closed file. He reached for Elijah's jacket. "Ask," Elijah said. "Hand it over." "Under what authority?" "Disorderly conduct." "Whose conduct?" Some guests lowered their phones. Others held them higher. Grant stepped between Elijah and the tables. "This is a private event. We are preventing disruption." Noah set his tray down. Silverware chimed against porcelain. "She hit him." Ava pointed at him. "Delete your recording." "I wasn't recording." "You had your phone out." "I was checking an order." "Unlock it." "No." The kitchen doors opened, releasing damp heat and scorched butter. A cook froze with a towel in both hands. Martin took Elijah's phone from his pocket. "You searched me without consent," Elijah said. "You can complain tomorrow. If there is still a tomorrow on the docket." Caleb Dunn came around the table. The officer's collar sat crooked, and a red indicator glowed on his body camera. Its reflection blinked in a silver soup spoon beside Elijah's untouched plate. Ava saw it. "Turn that off." Caleb touched the camera but did not press the button. "Policy says it stays on during an active detention." "This isn't a detention," Grant said. "Then Mr. Mercer can leave." The room tightened around the words. Near the bar, ice settled with a brittle crack. Grant lowered his voice. "Caleb, secure the west doors. People are asking to go home. They can wait." A woman near the stage stood. "My husband needs his medication." "We'll be finished shortly," Grant said. Martin tilted Elijah's phone toward the light. "Face unlock." "You need a warrant." Elijah turned away. Ava stepped toward Noah. "Give me your phone, or you're fired." "You don't employ me." "My foundation hired this venue." My manager did. Where is he? Noah glanced toward the kitchen. In the dark door glass, Elijah caught Noah's thumb moving beneath a folded napkin. A vibration sounded once. Ava heard it. What did you send? Nothing to you. She reached for his apron, but Simone Price stood. Enough, Simone said. Grant faced her. Sit down. Her mouth opened. Nothing came. She lowered herself, still clutching the program marked with the missing funds. Noah slipped his phone into an inner pocket. Martin found the county notice in Elijah's jacket. Emergency land review? Return it. Grant took the page, read the parcel number, and folded it into a narrow strip. Tomorrow may solve several problems, he murmured. Caleb's camera was still recording. Grant moved closer to Martin. Once Mercer signs the statement, make the orchard next. Get it done before the state notices. Martin's face changed for less than a second. The red light flashed again in the spoon. Elijah looked directly at Caleb. The officer's hand fell away from the camera. Grant raised his voice. Lock the doors. Put Mercer in the service room. The latch clicked at the front of the hall. As Martin guided him toward the kitchen corridor, Elijah saw Noah's screen glow beneath the napkin. Message delivered. Then the service room door opened onto a metal table, 2 chairs, and no clock. The service room door closed with a rubber seal, cutting off the banquet music. Martin placed Elijah's phone on a high shelf and slid a statement across the metal table. The room smelled of bleach and old coffee. Read it, Martin said. Elijah remained standing. Return the land notice. Grant locked the door. You are in no position to negotiate. The statement said Elijah had disrupted the event, refused lawful orders, and made accusations without evidence. You left out the part where your daughter struck me. Ava folded her arms in the doorway. You provoked me. With parcel numbers? You humiliated us. Grant shut the door in her face. Manage the guests. Grant sat opposite Elijah. Sign, withdraw your claims, and tomorrow's orchard review disappears. So the drainage risk is negotiable. Everything is negotiable when people behave reasonably. And the green property? Not your concern. It became mine when your officers delivered their notice. Martin uncapped a pen. The tip clicked against the table. Sign, he said. Go home. Elijah took Ruth's tin from his pocket. His thumb settled into the dent on its lid, fitting the hollow as if years of handling had shaped it for this room. Grant watched. Sentimental objects do not stop foreclosure. No, records do. You have no records here. Then why lock the doors? Beyond the wall, dishes crashed into a tub. Grant leaned closer. Your daughter has a future here. She files motions before people who return my calls. Think about what stubbornness costs her. Elijah's thumb pressed deeper into the dent. Leave Lena out of this. Sign? No. At 8:31, Lena's phone rang in the farmhouse kitchen. The shriveled apple remained near the sink. Ms. Mercer? A clerk said. The emergency review has been moved to 7 tomorrow morning. It was 7:30. There was a docket correction. Who requested it? I'm not authorized to say. Email me the amended notice. It has already been served. To whom? Keyboard taps filled the pause. Your father acknowledged receipt at 8:12 p.m. Lena stared at the empty table. My father is at a dinner. The system shows his electronic signature. He doesn't use electronic signatures. The clerk lowered her voice. Then raise that at the hearing. The line went dead. Lena opened Noah's video. Ava stepped toward Elijah. The brass tin fell, and Grant ordered someone to take his phone. She called Elijah. Voicemail. Back in the service room, Grant pushed the paper closer. Last chance. Elijah folded the statement twice and set it beneath the seed tin. I want my call. You can call after you sign. That is not how detention works. You are not detained. Open the door. Martin looked at the lock, then away. A fist struck the corridor side. Caleb's voice came through the metal. Chief, guests are demanding to leave. One says she contacted an attorney. Grant stood. Another knock. And Mr. Mercer's daughter has called dispatch 6 times. Grant looked at Elijah's phone on the shelf. Elijah kept his thumb in the dented brass lid. Now decide which record you want the state to hear first. Caleb opened the door 6 inches before Grant caught it with his palm. Guests stay inside, Grant said. They're asking whether Mercer is under arrest. He's being interviewed. Elijah rose from the metal chair. Then the interview is over. Voices pressed through the gap with the clatter of dishes and one thin violin note from the ballroom. Caleb kept his hand on the knob. Chief, let him make the call. Grant's jaw shifted. One call. Speaker on. No, Elijah said. Private. You don't set conditions. Then document that you denied outside contact. The red light on Caleb's body camera blinked. Grant stepped aside. 2 minutes. Martin returned Elijah's phone but held out his hand. No messages. Elijah unlocked it and saw Lena's 6 missed calls. His thumb hovered over her name. The room smelled of bleach, and the metal table pressed cold against his hip. He chose another number. A woman answered on the second ring. Chen. The harvest is spoiled, Elijah said. Grant's eyes sharpened. No reply came. Then 3 soft taps sounded against the receiver. Tap, tap, tap. Elijah let out one slow breath. Mara Chen's voice returned, calm and low. Where are you? Cedar Hollow Foundation dinner. Service room behind the east kitchen. Are you free to leave? No. Grant reached for the phone. Elijah turned his shoulder. Who is that? Grant demanded. Keep the line open, Mara said. Martin's radio crackled. Dispatch called for the chief twice. Grant took the phone. This is Chief Rourke. Mr. Mercer is safe. Why are you restricting his movement? He disrupted a private event. Is he charged? Not yet. Then release him and preserve every recording made tonight. Grant ended the call. Elijah looked at the dark screen. You cut off a state investigator. You called a friend. No, I called the person who has 18 months of your records. Martin's face changed before he could stop it. Across town, Mara Chen stood in a windowless operations room beneath fluorescent lights. At 44, she wore her black hair in a severe knot and kept a yellow pencil behind one ear. She placed Elijah's file on the center table. Activate Cedar Field. An auditor looked up. All sites? Restaurant, police headquarters, land office, county archive. What triggered it? Detention, evidence interference, accelerated seizure. Phones lit around the room. Printers started. Sealed folders slid into canvas bags. Mara pointed to a map. Team 1 takes the dinner. Team 2 secures body camera storage. Team 3 freezes the deed system. Nobody calls local command. At the farmhouse, Lena refreshed the docket page. The 7 a.m. hearing vanished. A new line appeared. Administrative hold. State review. She called Elijah. His phone rang on the metal table. Grant stared at Lena's name. Don't answer. Elijah picked it up. Dad? I'm here. The hearing is frozen. What did you do? What I should have told you sooner. A siren sounded beyond the restaurant, then another from the opposite direction. Grant moved to the frosted glass. Blue light swept across his face and vanished. The 3 taps still seemed to linger in Elijah's ear as heavy footsteps entered the kitchen corridor. The footsteps stopped outside the service room. State Investigative Division. a woman called. "Open the door." Grant did not move. Mara Chen knocked. "Chief Rourke, this room is covered by an active preservation order." Caleb reached past him and turned the lock. Cold air entered first, carrying rain and wet leaves. Mara stood behind 2 investigators with folders. "Elijah, are you hurt?" "No." "Were you free to leave?" "No." Grant straightened his jacket. "This is an overreach." Mara handed him a document. "Banquet footage, body camera files, dispatch logs, and communications concerning Elijah Mercer must be preserved. You have no jurisdiction here. The second page covers your department." Martin read over his shoulder. Ava appeared. "Dad, everyone is filming." "Take their phones." Mara turned. "Do not touch another device." The kitchen was silent, except for water dripping into a steel sink. Noah stood by the swinging doors. "I have a video." "He recorded a private event," Ava snapped. "He recorded what happened in front of 100 people." Mara held out an evidence sleeve. "Send the original, then place the phone inside." Noah obeyed. His hand shook after the upload finished. They entered the ballroom. Martin lifted the latch. Cold autumn air rushed through the doors and scattered programs across the carpet. Guests pulled coats around their shoulders. "This event is over," Grant announced. "Everyone may leave." "No one leaves until contact information is recorded," Mara said. "Call counsel if needed. Delete nothing." Grant stepped onto the stage. "This is political theater." Mara opened a folder. "Briar Ridge Holdings. Transfer authorization dated March 14th. Signed by Grant Rourke." The page crackled in the draft. That signature was administrative. Then explain the note beneath it. Martin whispered, "Chief." Grant said nothing. An auditor photographed Elijah's notice. Another collected the unsigned statement. Caleb removed his body camera and sealed it in a padded box. "You heard him mention the orchard?" Mara asked. Caleb looked at Grant, then Elijah. "Yes." "Exact words?" "Make the orchard next, before the state notices." A chair scraped. Simone Price stood with her program crushed in one hand. "I need to correct my reports." Grant stared at her. "Think carefully." "I have. Complaints vanished after reaching my office. Authorization codes were used while I was away. I kept copies." Mara nodded. "Take her statement." Elijah found Ruth's seed tin beneath the table. The brass was colder than the air outside. He wiped dust from the lid. Lena entered through the open doors, breathless, her coat unbuttoned. "Dad." He crossed the room, but stopped before touching her. "I should have told you." "Yes," she said. "You should have." Behind them, a printer in the evidence van fed out labels beneath blue light. Mara approached with another document. "The land office has been sealed. Tomorrow's hearing cannot proceed." Elijah nodded once. Grant's voice rose from the stage. "This proves nothing." Mara looked toward him. "No, your records will do that." Then she spread a map of Cedar Hollow across the nearest table, and 12 farms were already marked in red. The red marks on Mara's map ran from the eastern orchards to the river road. 12 farms, Lena said. 14. Mara placed 2 deeds beside the map, hidden under shell leases. An auditor arranged inspection notices, police logs, and sale records. First came an anonymous complaint, she said. Then a police visit, an emergency citation, and a transfer to Briar Ridge Holdings within 90 days. Thomas and Evelyn Green entered through the open doors. Rain shone on Thomas's coat. Evelyn held a folder against her chest. "That's our west field," Thomas said, pointing to parcel 18-442. Grant stepped down. "You were compensated." Evelyn opened the folder. 1/3 of the assessed value after your officers blocked our shed. That complaint was reviewed. By your deputy. Martin looked away. Lena turned to Elijah. How long have you known? 18 months. You let me fight notices you knew were connected? I needed your filings to remain independent. I'm your daughter, not an evidence source. Elijah's fingers tightened around Ruth's tin. I was keeping your name out of their reach. You kept me in the dark. Mara closed a folder. He was our confidential witness. If the chief learned you knew, every motion you filed could have been challenged. Lena did not look at her. Did Mom know? No. Good. She would have made you tell me. A gust lifted the map. Elijah set the brass tin on one corner. Its dented weight held Cedar Hollow flat. Mara faced the room. Elijah Mercer owns 1,800 acres. He chairs a cooperative representing 12 farming families and supplied the ledger that opened this investigation. Ava stared at him. You said you were struggling. I said farmers were struggling. You let us think you needed the fund. You never asked what I owned. Grant laughed once. Land does not make him an investigator. No, Mara said. Keeping copies does. She spread photographs of coded inspections, transfers, and dispatch logs. Simone stepped closer. Those authorization numbers came from my office. 3 were entered while you were out of state. Noah stood by the kitchen doors. So moving his seat and taking his phone, because he had this? Tonight was a test, Elijah said. For whom? Caleb asked. For anyone willing to record what they saw. The officer glanced at his sealed camera box. Lena moved to the far end of the table. 6 feet separated them, but Elijah did not cross it. You should have trusted me. I trusted what they would do to you. That is not the same thing. No. For once, he had nothing more exact to offer. Thomas touched the map. Soil remained beneath his thumbnail. Can we get the field back? Not tonight, Mara said, but no further transfer can be recorded. Evelyn's shoulders lowered. Grant reached for the map. Caleb stepped between them. Don't. Grant stared at the young officer as though he had become someone else. Rain tapped the evidence van. Chandeliers hummed over the files. Lena picked up Ruth's tin and returned it to Elijah. She did not touch his hand. Mara placed a sealed envelope on the table. This contains the owner of Briar Ridge Holdings, she said. The name becomes public tomorrow. At 9:10 the next morning, the county hearing room filled before the doors opened. Rainwater darkened the floor. Elijah sat beside Lena with Ruth's brass tin between them, its dent facing the witness table. Helena Ward entered. At 62, the retired judge wore a gray suit and half-moon glasses. This is a preservation hearing, she said, not a campaign speech. Anyone who forgets that will leave. Nia Reynolds, a 39-year-old reporter with close-cropped curls and a red notebook, took a press seat. Mara opened the sealed envelope. Briar Ridge Holdings is controlled through 3 trusts. The final beneficiary is the Rourke Family Development Fund. A murmur rose. Ava's attorney stood. My client's foundation is charitable. Then charity has been purchasing seized farms, Helena replied. The screen showed the Green property, a police inspection, an emergency citation, and a transfer 83 days later. Thomas Green shifted beside Evelyn. His chair creaked once. Mara displayed 6 more parcels. Same sequence, different families. Grant leaned toward his microphone. Those were lawful transactions handled by county departments. Mara raised a document. Transfer authorization, March 14th. Your signature. Administrative approval. Helena adjusted her glasses. Read the line below your name. Grant said nothing. Mara enlarged the page. Next to before winter. Mercer if he resists. The projector fan roared. Lena gripped the table. Elijah covered the seed tin, but kept his eyes on Grant. That note is not mine, Grant said. Mara played the body camera audio. Grant's voice filled the room. Make the orchard next. Get it done before the state notices. Martin Vale lowered his head. Ava whispered, Dad? Do not speak. Helena faced Martin. Were officers sent to properties involved in these transfers? For safety checks. Requested by whom? Rain ticked against the windows. Chief Rourke. Grant struck the table. He is protecting himself. Martin flinched. I followed orders. That does not erase them, Helena said. Simone Price carried a box to the evidence table. Inside were duplicate complaints with dates missing from the county system. I kept them at home, she said. Whenever I questioned a deletion, my budget was threatened. Grant's attorney objected. Overruled. Ava's attorney requested a recess. Mara placed bank transfers on the screen. 3 came from the foundation account. Each bore Ava's digital approval. Ava stared at the dates. I approved development grants. You approved payments to Briar Ridge, Mara said. My father called them land recovery projects. Grant's chair moved back an inch. Elijah noticed first. Nia turned a page. Chief Rourke, did your department pressure owners before those sales? Helena pointed toward the door. Press questions later. But the question remained. Grant reached for his water and missed the glass. Helena closed her folder. All Briar Ridge assets remain frozen. Chief Rourke is suspended pending criminal review. We reconvene this afternoon for sworn testimony. As 2 officers approached, Ava looked at her father. He did not look back. He leaned toward his attorney and whispered, Put it all on her. Put it all on her. Ava heard every word. At 1:40, Grant sat 3 chairs away, speaking only to his attorney. He had not looked at his daughter since morning. Helena Ward called Ava first. Her bracelet clicked against the witness rail as she raised her hand. Mara placed the transfer records before her. Did you approve these payments? I approved projects my father called land recovery. Did you know Briar Ridge bought farms after police inspections? Not at first. Grant's attorney stood. Speculation. Helena did not turn. Sit. Ava's voice thinned. Later, I knew families were being pressured. I told myself the county was preventing abandoned land. Thomas Green shifted in the second row. Our field was planted, he said. Helena lifted one finger. Thomas lowered his head. Evelyn kept a hand over his. Mara showed the banquet video. On screen, Ava crossed the ballroom and struck Elijah. The brass tin spun beneath the tables. Why did you demand the recordings be erased? Ava stared at the frozen image. Because I knew what it looked like. What did it look like? Like I had become useful to him. Grant turned. Answer only what you are asked. Helena removed her glasses. Chief Rourke, interrupt again, and you will be removed. Ava looked at him. You said the farmers were cheating the county. They were. You said the inspections were legal. They were. You told your attorney to blame me. His face did not move. The ventilation system hummed. In the corridor, a cartwheel squeaked at even intervals. Mara opened a photograph of a black ledger. Do you recognize this? Ava's fingers closed around the gold ring Grant gave her when she became foundation director. No. Grant exhaled. Ava heard it. She removed the ring and placed it beside the microphone. There is a backup ledger, she said. Grant's chair scraped across the floor. "Where?" Mara asked. "Foundation archive, blue cabinet, false bottom. It lists parcels, inspection dates, assigned officers, and resale values." "You never told me about that," Grant said. "You never expected me to read it." His attorney grabbed his sleeve. Ava continued. "I copied it after the green sale. I thought it was insurance." "Against whom?" She looked at her father. "Against the day he decided I was the easiest person to sacrifice." No one moved. Mara asked, "Do you have the copy?" Ava nodded toward her attorney. A sealed drive was placed on the evidence table. Martin Vale was called next. His collar was damp at the edges. "Were officers assigned to disputed properties?" Mara asked. "Yes." "For what purpose?" "To create pressure, noise complaints, code checks, access disputes. Nothing violent. Just enough visits to make owners believe resistance would cost more than selling." Grant stood. "Liar." Caleb rose near the wall, but Helena spoke first. "Remove him." 2 state officers escorted Grant toward the door. He stopped beside Ava. "You destroyed this family." She touched the bare place where the ring had been. "No," she said. "I finally stopped helping you do it to everyone else." The door closed behind him. On the evidence screen, the recovered ledger opened to a page headed Mercer, before first frost. By 4:25 p.m., Mercer, before first frost, had been copied into 3 evidence files. Helena Ward closed the hearing. No deed, account, or property tied to Briar Ridge moves without court approval. Grant left through a side corridor, his badge sealed in plastic. Mara stopped Elijah near the elevator. "The prosecutor will seek fraud, conspiracy, evidence interference, and coercion charges." "And the farms?" "Emergency access first. Ownership takes longer." Thomas Green gripped his folder. "The winter wheat window closes Friday." Lena opened her notebook. "Then we ask for access before title is settled." "You can draft it tonight?" "In the elevator." Elijah almost smiled. Lena did not, but turned the notebook so he could read the first line. At 6:10, Martin Vale signed a cooperation agreement in a room smelling of toner and cold coffee. "I assigned officers to 8 properties," he said. "Grant chose the names." "Did you benefit?" "My brother received paving contracts." "Connected?" Martin stared at the table. "Yes." Caleb stood by the wall. "I told myself nobody was being hurt," Martin said. "You made people afraid to open their own gates," Caleb answered. Martin lowered his eyes and listed dates. Ava gave her statement next door. She admitted approving transfers, striking Elijah, and ordering Noah to erase the video. When her attorney called her misled, she shook her head. "I was misled at first. After that, I chose not to look." Elijah heard her through the partition. When Ava came out, she stopped before him. "I am sorry." He noticed the pale mark where her ring had been. "Say it to the families in that ledger." "I will." "Do not ask them to comfort you." She nodded and walked toward the greens. 2 days later, a judge granted emergency access to the Green West Field and 5 other parcels. The order returned keys, wells, and the right to plant, though ownership remained unsettled. A state clerk cut the Briar Ridge seal from the gate. The link dropped into wet grass. "You should open it," Thomas told Elijah. "It is your gate." Thomas's hand shook. Evelyn covered it with hers, and together they turned the key. Winter light lay across the furrows. Thomas walked 10 steps, stopped, and lowered himself to one knee. He pushed his fingers into the dark soil and lifted a handful to his face. No one applauded. Elijah removed his cap. Lena stood close enough that their sleeves touched. Mara approached with a restitution proposal. Frozen assets could fund penalties and damages. Use them for repair, Elijah said. Your losses qualify. So do poisoned wells, broken fences, missed harvests, and legal bills. You could ask for more. I am. She waited. For everyone. Evelyn took a paper sack from her coat. Wheat seed. We saved it from last year. Thomas opened his hand, letting soil fall around the first kernels. Lena unfolded a draft titled Independent Land Review Board. Elijah read the first rule: no enforcement action in a property dispute without outside review. This needs farmers at the table, he said. How many? More than officials. The wind moved over the reopened field, carrying wet earth toward the county buildings where the old rules were still in force. More than officials, Elijah repeated. 3 weeks later, the Independent Land Review Board opened its first meeting in the county library. Rain tapped the windows. Folding chairs scraped the floor, and the radiator smelled of dust. A brass nameplate waited at the head of the table. Elijah Mercer, chair. He lifted it and carried his chair to the long side. Lena stopped arranging folders. They voted for you. They voted for someone they knew. That is usually how voting works. It is also how rooms stay the same. He placed the nameplate among cards marked Farm Owner, Tenant Farmer, Legal Aid, and Public Observer. At the center seat, he set a blank card. Simone Price arrived with 2 archive boxes. Every unresolved land complaint from the last 12 years. Originals? Lena asked. And copies stored outside my department. Caleb entered with a binder on body camera policy. They offered me a promotion, he said. Did you take it? Elijah asked. No. I asked them to fix retention first. The old rule allowed recordings to vanish after 30 days unless an officer flagged them. Caleb's draft preserved every file tied to a property dispute for 7 years on an outside server. A county attorney cleared his throat. 7 years is expensive. So was losing farms, Lena said. We need a practical compromise. Thomas Green leaned forward, soil dark in the seams of his hands. We compromised until your paperwork owned our gate. No one asked him to soften it. By noon, the board approved 3 rules. Police could not enter a property dispute without written outside authorization. Every complaint had to appear in a public registry within 24 hours. Emergency seizure hearings required 7 days' notice, independent counsel, and a recorded explanation for any exception. Ava's former office became the County Legal Aid Center. Workers removed the donor wall, and Lena used the empty frame for free consultation hours. You could put your name on the door, Elijah said. I'm putting the phone number. At the next session, Grant's former allies packed the back row. Councilman Pierce stood. This board is punishing law enforcement. Caleb answered, Oversight is not punishment. You expect officers to wait while hazards grow? No, Elijah said. We expect them to explain why they are there. Pierce pointed at him. You own 1,800 acres. You are hardly the voice of the vulnerable. Elijah slid the microphone toward Maribel Soto. Then listened to her. Maribel unfolded a notice. The paper trembled against the table. They came at dawn, she said. Not because my fence was unsafe, because I would not sell. The fluorescent lights buzzed over the still room. The rules passed 9-2. Outside, Nia Reynolds asked whether Elijah considered the board his victory. He buttoned his jacket against the wind. Ask me after no family has to prove it deserves to keep what it owns. That evening, he returned alone. The blank center chair remained where he had left it. He turned it sideways and made space for another seat. On the table, Lena had left the first public registry report. At the top was a new complaint from a farm Elijah did not recognize. 1 year later, the county's annual dinner was held inside the Green family's restored barn. No velvet rope divided donors from farmers. Warm bulbs glowed as rain ticked on the roof. Thomas Green carried bowls while Evelyn pinned a sign by the entrance, "Land help. No appointment needed." Elijah arrived in the same olive field jacket. The brass seed tin rested in his pocket, lighter now. Lena stood behind a table stacked with forms. Her clinic had stopped 3 rushed seizures and reopened 9 old cases. When a tenant farmer asked what the first consultation would cost, she turned the paper toward him. "Your name," she said. "That's all we need." Across the barn, Noah Bell supervised volunteers. After the banquet video became evidence, he refused every interview that tried to make him a hero. He accepted a place on the public observer panel instead. Caleb Dunn, now in compliance, checked the red indicator on a body camera. 7-year retention, he told Elijah. Outside server, no local deletion. And complaints? Public within 24 hours. Elijah nodded. Good. Simone Price entered, carrying the annual land review report. It listed every complaint, inspection, delay, and ownership decision in plain language. She had kept her job after cooperating, but no longer controlled the records alone. Nia Reynolds photographed the report, not Elijah. Grant Rourke had resigned before the county could remove him. He later accepted responsibility for fraud, coercion, and interference with evidence. His sentence included prison time, restitution, and a permanent ban from public office. Martin Vale lost his badge and testified in the remaining property cases. Ava pleaded guilty to financial violations and the assault at the dinner. She completed community service away from the foundation and began repaying funds through property received from her father. She did not attend. A letter from her sat unopened in Elijah's truck. Near sunset, Helena Ward opened the board's anniversary meeting. The center chair remained empty until Maribel Soto pulled it out for an elderly tenant farmer whose complaint arrived after the first public report. No one asked him to stand while speaking. When the meeting ended, Lena found Elijah beside the orchard. The trees had survived the emergency order, though one row still bore scars where survey stakes entered the roots. "I used to think saving the farm would fix everything," she said. "It saved the farm." "That wasn't what I asked." He looked toward the barn, where laughter mixed with scraping dishes. "No," he said. "It didn't fix everything." She slipped her hand through his arm. They walked to the oldest tree, where Ruth's red cloth still hung from a branch, faded almost pink. Elijah knelt and opened the brass tin. Inside were the last seeds Ruth had saved. Lena touched the dented lid. "You kept all of them?" "I was waiting for ground I trusted." Together, they pressed the seeds into a narrow row beside the tree. The soil was cold and damp. Elijah covered each hollow, then handed Lena the watering can. Behind them, Thomas rang a dinner bell. People returned to the barn with empty plates and folded chairs. Lena poured the final stream of water. "What happens if they don't grow?" she asked. Elijah closed the empty tin. "Then we plant again." Evening rain darkened the new row. Have you ever seen someone's dignity challenged by a person who believed their title placed them above accountability? Share what happened in the comments, especially if one quiet witness, preserved record, or difficult decision changed the outcome. Send this story to someone who believes justice means more than punishing one person. It means repairing the rules that allowed the harm to continue. Subscribe for more stories about fairness, quiet resilience, family legacies, and ordinary people who refuse to disappear when powerful systems expect their silence. And remember Elijah's final choice. He did not keep the last seeds locked inside a dented tin. He placed them in ground that had finally become safe enough to trust. Sometimes change begins the same way, carefully, together, and with the courage to plant again.